Hello there, folks. My name is Spoonks, and I saw Luck, and it was terrible. Now, folks, I'm gonna be real with you. I wasn't even planning on really seeing this movie. It didn't look all that interesting to me, and the lack of buzz and the fact that it was being sent to Apple TV Plus didn't really encourage me to rush out to see it. But then I saw that one of my local theaters was playing it, and that sort of gave off to me a really strong level of confidence the studio has in the movie. The fact that they would give it a somewhat of a theatrical release despite not promoting or stating it anywhere in the advertising for this movie that it would, shows that there might be something, even with the fact that the producer of this movie isn't the best, and the less we say about him the better. But yeah, despite my lack of interest in seeing this movie, I was still willing to give it a shot, having saw that. And guys, let me tell you, boy, did this movie not meet my expectations, and it certainly surprised me with how absolutely terrible it was. I am utterly shocked at how much I just flat out hated this movie. Let's start off with the positives. Easily the best thing about this movie is the animation. There is a reason this movie cost $140 million. Based off of the look of it, I just don't understand why they would give this, of all things, a Marvel movie budget, but I digress. It does look really good, and the animators made the most with their expanded resources. The designs are really well done and appealing. It's colorful, vibrant, everything moves fluidly. The look of the Land of Luck, both good and bad luck, looks really cool and clever, and you can really tell they had fun with designing the world and making it work with the rules and the different characters and beings we see inhabit it. And while there might be a couple of issues I have with it, it's very minimal, and we'll discuss those later. But once again, very minimal, as the majority of the animation looks rather really nice, fluid. The textures and the way everything looks and moves, again, is very solid and adds to some aspects of the comedy and even some of the emotional moments there. In terms of the characters, really the only one I rather tolerated at most was Simon Pegg as Bob. He really does the best with the voice work, the jokes, and even his arc. There's a twist revolving around him that is revealed near the end of the movie that I was honestly completely taken off guard by. I actually thought it added to the film in some way, and his character, he was honestly the most interesting and likable character in the movie. And the last positive thing I can really say about this movie is that it's harmless. It doesn't say like any bad messages or does anything like offensively bad in any way. It's just an all-around terrible kids movie. That's its biggest crime, the fact that it is as bad as it is. But in terms of like what it's actually trying to do in terms of its target audience, it doesn't do anything absolutely heinous or atrocious in that regard. Okay, on to the bad stuff. First off, for a movie that revolves around the logistics and the world that is behind the creation of both bad and good luck, how is this movie as boring, dull, and uninteresting as it is? This movie is an hour and 45 minutes, and once we get to the Land of Luck, you really feel the length of it, as nothing of merit or interesting really happens or occurs, as the film just goes along trying to explain the logistics of the world and explain every single plot point and detail going on. And I do mean explain, as at this point is dedicated to the characters talking and explaining the logistics of the world, how they are feeling, the message in painfully excruciating detail. It's almost as if they were worried that the target audience wouldn't be able to understand or get the complexities of this different world, so they just had all of the characters explain every single aspect of this world to its audience, and it really comes off as the filmmakers were too worried that children would not be able to understand or be able to follow along with the story on their own, so they had all of the characters just explain everything full on to each other in painstaking detail, which really just came off as obnoxious and annoying throughout the majority of the movie. This movie also really liked to borrow a lot from other Disney and Pixar films. Now, there's nothing wrong with films feeling similar to one another. In fact, you can say that about a lot of movies per se. Many movies have similarities to them that make them feel like they're taking stuff from there, and that's fine, but something like Despicable Me and Megamind are similar, but they were able to stand off from one another and make themselves have unique identities to make them different and unique from one another, to where they certainly have similarities, but they are clearly different movies. But here, it just felt like they were just taking so many ideas and concepts and themes from various Disney and Pixar movies that it just felt like they couldn't really even come up with their own real ideas, and just borrowed from those other films, as this film feels a lot like Meet the Robinsons and Monsters Inc. and Inside Out, with the themes and the messages and even how the movie is told and presented in some aspects. This movie's humor is also not funny. The humor in this movie comes off as much more childish and juvenile than the average animated film. It doesn't really feel like it's trying to appeal to a wider audience with its comedy, as it's just basically a lot more of slapstick and just how the characters play off of one another, and even a really surprising amount of poop jokes here, that including one shot that I just had to feel so sorry for the animator who had to animate that. If you are watching this, person who animated that one poop joke, I truly feel sorry, and I hope you were paid well. And like I said earlier, in regards to animation, there are some points where it does get a little bit iffy. Like sometimes the lip syncing is a little wonky, and sometimes when the characters move, it can be a bit stiff, especially in the dance numbers. And yes, there are dance numbers in here. They just look clunky and stiff. And even like at the start of the movie, when certain characters are talking to one another, they barely blink or pull off more than one facial expression. It just looked weird. So yeah, luck was pretty terrible. Again, folks, I am shocked that I did not like this movie as much as I did, because there are some good things about it. The animation, for the most part, is really solid. I liked the Simon Pegg cat, and it is really just harmless, but it's not really good enough to where I say I would recommend it. The story is a mess. The humor falls flat. The animation has some wonky moments to it, and it really is just a bad animated movie in my opinion. Again, I'm really surprised at how terrible this movie was. Honestly, this was the worst animated movie I've seen this year so far. I was just so bored and uninterested with this. Please make your kids watch something else. Go see Minions again. Watch Lightyear if you haven't already. It's on Disney Plus. Hell, go watch Super Pets, or even Paws of Fury for that matter, as I really did not like this movie. So those are my thoughts on Luck. What did you all think of it if you've seen it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.
Now you're walking around like you're under a curse, and you don't know how this day could get any worse. Bad luck.